Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem, and in today's top stories. Tensions across the West Bank districts of Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley continue to run high, while tours by Jewish visitors on Jerusalem's Temple Mount have sparked clashes. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas pleads for Palestine's full membership at the United Nations during his address to the General Assembly's plenum. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud acknowledges the kingdom's keen interest in normalizing relations with Israel. Tensions across the West Bank districts of Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley continue to run high, while tours by Jewish visitors on Jerusalem's Temple Mount have sparked clashes. IDF, police, and border police forces deployed thousands of additional troops throughout Israel, the West Bank territories, and Jerusalem in particular. Moreover, the IDF imposed a closure on Judea and Samaria and on border crossings between Israel and the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip ahead of the Jewish high holiday Rosh Hashanah, which is set to last until Tuesday at midnight. On Saturday, during routine military activity adjacent to the Palestinian city of Nablus, a Palestinian assailant accelerated his vehicle with clear intent on ramming into the operating IDF force. The soldiers immediately responded by opening fire toward the vehicle, neutralizing the assailant. And while the terrorist succumbed to his wounds shortly after, no injuries were reported among the IDF troops. Separately, IDF Special Operations Forces intercepted a terror cell while attempting to engage in a shooting attack toward the Israeli community of Har Bracha. After the civilian community was already subject to 2 attacks during the past week, IDF Special Operations Forces from the Golani Division prepared an ambush based on concrete intelligence ahead of yet another looming attack. Subsequently, a cell of armed Palestinian terrorists traveling by car and motorcycle arrived at the scene, drawing fire from the Israeli troops. Consequently, the terrorist driving the motorcycle, who was later identified as a member of the Arab Lion's Den terror organization, was killed, while those driving the vehicle managed to flee the scene into the adjacent city of Nablus. According to reports, at least 2 of the terrorists who managed to flee the scene sustained severe injuries. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, Islamist youth barricaded themselves in the Al-Aqsa Mosque overnight ahead of routine tours by Jewish visitors who tour the Temple Mount annually during the high holiday of Rosh Hashanah. Subsequently, upon arrival of the first group at the ancient compound this morning, clashes erupted when the Islamist youth began hurling stones and fireworks in the direction of the Jewish visitors. Police forces at the scene managed to subdue the violent attempt to disrupt the tours by non-Muslim visitors by apprehending a number of the prime instigators. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. Meanwhile, accompanied by Internal Security Minister Bar-Lev, Police Commissioner Yaakov Shabtai, and Border Police Commander Amir Cohen, among others, Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid toured the Border Police Menashe Brigade at the Shaked base, which is situated in the West Bank, during which he commended the Israeli troops for saving Israeli civilian lives.
יש המון אנשים במדינת ישראל שלא יודעים שהם בחיים בזכותכם. אם אתם לא הייתם, אם לא הייתה הפלוגה הזו, אם לא הייתה המקום הזה, אם לא היו הסיורים שאתם עושים, אם לא היו המעצרים שאתם מבצעים, יש הרבה קברים חדשים בבתי קברות בכל מדינת ישראל. הם לא ידעו את זה לעולם. הם ימשיכו בחייהם, הם יפגשו היום את המשפחות שלהם, הם ינשקו את הילדים שלהם, הם ישימו קצת תפוח בדבש, וכל הזמן הזה הם לא ידעו שהם חיים בזכות החבורה שיושבת פה.
while further dubbing the operational activity by the border police and IDF forces as holy work. Premier Lapid also urged Israeli troops to operate while remaining vigilant for their own lives.
באמת הביטוי עבודת קודש הוא על מה שאתם עושים. זה עבודת קודש. ואני לא פה רק בשם עצמי, והשר לא פה רק, והמפכ"ל לא רק פה בשם עצמה, אלא בשם עם ישראל. תדעו שאנחנו יודעים ותדעו זה חשוב, תדעו שאנחנו מודעים כל הזמן לעבודה שאתם עושים. ואני גם רוצה להגיד לכם עוד דבר, בדרך ובתוך התפקיד תשמרו על עצמכם.
Prior to the holiday of Rosh Hashanah and following the two states declaration by Premier Lapid at the United Nations General Assembly, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas addressed the World Body's plenum, during which he responded to the remarks made by the Israeli leader and others, including U.S. President Joe Biden.
وغيرهما من قادة العالم حول الموقف المؤيد لحل الدولتين ببساطة والله الحمد لله وهذا أمر بلا شك إيجابي إن الاختبار الحقيقي لجدية ومصداقية هذا الموقف شو وما بكفي تبيعني كلام شبعنا كلام وشبعنا قرارات إن الاختبار الحقيقي لجدية ومصداقية هذا الموقف هو جلوس الحكومة الإسرائيلية إلى طاولة المفاوضات فوراً بكرة تعال لتنفيذ حل الدولتين على أساس قرارات شرعية دولية ذات العلاقة ومبادرة السلام العربية ووقف كل الإجراءات أحادية الجانب التي تقوض حل الدولتين.
It is important to highlight that the Palestinian leader's address was unashamedly saturated by misinformation and disinformation vis-à-vis reality on the ground, historic facts, and legalities. Moreover, President Abbas, who chairs the Western-backed Palestinian Authority, seized the opportunity to plead for full membership of a state of Palestine at the United Nations. Meanwhile, during a MENA Forum Q&A session on Friday in New York City, Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Saud, stressed that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was keen on normalizing its relations with the State of Israel. Nevertheless, Riyadh's aspirations for normalization are only possible within context of the 2002 Arab Peace Initiative, which is a 10-sentence proposal for an end to the Arab-Israeli conflict that includes the establishment of a Palestinian state within the 1967 lines with East Jerusalem as its capital.
We're definitely interested, and we've shown our interest with the Arab Peace Initiative. The Arab Peace Initiative was predicated on, full normalization with Israel. Even before that, the Fez Initiative of 1982, which was also a Saudi initiative by the late King Fahd, also indicated the desire for normalization. The only pathway to a stable region is a resolution to the issue of Palestine, and that will only be resolved through a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital in the parameters that have been set forth. We need negotiations between the Palestinians and the Israelis to move to that direction, and we will support any efforts in that regard. Until that happens, any further steps will not be sustainable. So we need sustainable peace, and only the way to sustainable peace is through finding a resolution.
Riyadh's top diplomat also seized the opportunity to highlight the kingdom's concerns vis-à-vis Iran's nuclear aspirations.
We are obviously concerned about the nuclear program. We have made quite clear that a nuclear-armed Iran will be an incredibly dangerous thing. It will be significantly destabilizing not just to regional security, but the global security structure. We understand that JCPOA was a pathway to address it. We always felt that JCPOA was flawed. And now we are hearing even a return to JCPOA is not possible. So this, of course, is then a significant concern.
Prince Faisal continued by questioning Iran's peaceful intentions.
We hear from the Iranians that they have no ill intent in their nuclear program, that their nuclear program is purely for civilian use. I hope this is true. If it is true, then I don't see why full transparency on the program would be a problem. I don't see why the IAEA probe would be a problem. I don't see why engagement with both international organizations and the regional countries on that program would be a problem. We have plans for a nuclear program as well, and we have made quite public that we will be adhering to the highest standards of transparency, that we are open to working with our international partners to build that program so that everybody has full visibility into it. So we are cognizant of Iran's desire to have a civilian nuclear energy program. We understand the benefits of that. We don't understand why there should be any lack of transparency around that program, why there should be any resistance to having every aspect of that program open to the world, open to the neighbors. So I hope that the Iranians will take a path of transparency to give everybody comfort. If they don't, that will leave questions on the table for all of us about the ongoing intent, not just past intent.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. TV7 Israel is a donation-based ministry. Therefore, if you're blessed by our productions, please consider making a financial contribution that in turn will enable us to sustain our ongoing operations here in Jerusalem. Additionally, I would like to encourage you, pray for our persecuted brothers and sisters worldwide, and for the peace of Jerusalem and the salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Essen, wishing you a Shana Tova Umevurachat, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.